Hey, my honey sparkles, this is Lady Irony and I welcome you to our divine translation. And we start with appreciation and thankfulness for the knowledge of the previous season and welcome the new era, which is the era of Libra. Yes, you heard right, I'm going to translate for this era of Libra and for all zodiac signs, meaning that of course there can be direct translations to and for our Libra peeps. Well, it's nevertheless the season of Libra, right? But in fact, we are all together journeying through and experiencing this and each season of each zodiac, right? So we all have been touched by the energies of each season. So we are going to take a look and dive deep into the seasonal energies of our zodiac sign of air Libra, which starts his era in the energies of our zodiac sign of water Scorpio. Before we dive into, I want to mention that this video and probably all upcoming videos from now on include a visual ASMR, meaning that you're welcome to use this video as your ASMR altar if you like, by just muting my voice. Because you know best which sound or music helps you to chill or calm down, etc. So you can listen to what you like while simultaneously having a calming altar if you like to have one. Well, our moods are always changing. Maybe you like to have such an altar, but want to switch, for example, between music genres depending on your soul's wish or longing. It's up to you, my peep, because no one can decide better than you what you need or wish, right? Well, this attitude or adjustment fits perfectly to the energies of the ever-scaling Libra for equilibrium. This saying, one fact to add here, Libra is the zodiac who starts the period of autumn, the firstborn of autumn, so to say, right after we, with the previous harvest, aka corn full moon, which was also a blood moon that has changed the whole atmosphere, we celebrated our appreciation for our hard work and harvest. And we need to scale, we need adjustment, we need calibration, especially before winter covers Mother Earth. We need to release any energy which does not serve us anymore and which does not belong to us. We need to cleanse, so to say, also physically, meaning our homes as well. Because we don't want to hold energies with us and bring them into our homes in which we in winter season are going to spend more time in. Energies which probably could bother us by causing unrest and trouble the whole time period in which we want to snuggle up and rest. But if we don't calibrate and cleanse, we can't snuggle or rest. On the contrary, we at the end would take a high risk to stay permanently under pressure because we carry those old and perhaps dense energies with us into our homes. But nobody wants that. We just don't want that, especially not before winter, holidays, and New Year. We want to chill, snuggle, and rest and be ready for the next harvesting season. Let's take a tiny glimpse into the future, because when we talk about snuggling and resting at home, immediately there comes Taurus into my mind. When we want to learn about how to chill, snuggle, and rest at home, especially with their loved ones, watch your homie Taurus, I would say. The reason why I'm mentioning that is simple, because a tiny glimpse into the future shows us that there is a beaver full moon coming in November. And what do beavers do? They build homes, aka dams, for resting through the period of winter. And now the point is coming. This beaver full moon in November, which is going to be the biggest one in 2025, by the way, lies in the energies of our, voila, snuggle expert and earth sign of spring, Taurus. What does this furthermore mean? Even though we find ourselves in the energies of an air sign, there are a lot of emotional roller coaster sensations in some backpacks lately. And Spirit is saying it's overwhelming for those of you who are carrying such a backpack, which we have to release before winter, right? So those of you often felt and still feel exhausted and dizzy even. And this is why you prefer to stay at home or at least be by and with yourself. Spirit is saying that some of you already left their homes for good. Don't worry, no, don't worry, not forever, just for a period of time to pull yourself together again. Spirit is showing me depictions of a turquoise ocean, diving equipment, and darker underwater pictures with deep sea creatures. Seems as if some of you are finding themselves back in the middle of deep dark oceans, both literally and metaphorically. Spirit is also telling me that the majority of you have started to recognize, let's say, dense energies and sensations some time ago, and they still feel uncomfortable to you. Unfortunately, those sensations led you to doubt your decisions and, more importantly, to doubt yourself as well. And this is what you are not that good at, right? So this is why you temporarily left your environment behind for good. Because just in the very moment you start doubting yourself, you feel as if you are outside of yourself, outside of your mind, your existence, and start somehow to not only hide from society, but also from family and friends as well. So the ocean depictions are making sense here, because with the energies of our generally just and balanced, gentle zodiac sign Libra, we especially hesitate not to hurt someone or something unknowingly. Well, let's take a tiny look at Libra's attributes. A Libra, generally speaking, for a Libra, knowing to have hurt someone or something is bad enough for themselves. Considering the fact that because of guilt as a Libra, you then call thyself your own greatest enemy, and as a Libra, you are then able to blame yourself in a most nasty way, because a Libra feels that hurt intensely. And with full awareness, they carry all those burdens with them, trying to fix it somehow, even knowing that they can't really fix something that they have already broken. A Libra knows it can't be the same again. And all of this is what a Libra is not that good at. Right, Libra? So you know at that point you must create something out of the very extraordinary. A Libra loves and appreciates respect, love, kindness, honesty, intense communication, and of course also being strange and silly. And this is a beautiful combination to have, honey. Generally speaking, it's just not in Libra's blood to hurt someone, especially knowingly on purpose, aka it's not lying in their energies, which we are experiencing right now. Sounds like as if Libra is a softie, and we are all going to kind of end up as softies, right? Nothing wrong about that, by the way, don't worry. Of course, also a Libra knows how to fight or fight back. Don't underestimate a Libra, but the fight mechanism of a Libra is generally based on intellectual, tricky and tangled dark humor, which their counterpart needs to understand at first. And mostly they don't, just because of that tricky, strong intellectual labyrinth the Libra has built. So yes, a Libra is able to knock someone out just by giving or leaving them behind with kind of a puzzle or riddle. Importantly, without hurting them. Well, they know for sure until their counterpart gets it, the fight will be long over. Just because they need time to go through those creative and, by the way, very intellectual twists and turns of a Libra. Well, no. Now I direct the following straight to you, Libra. You are definitely not a softie, dear Libra. Let's say you are a trusty, solid softie with a huge heart longing for love. Based on the general Libra energy, Spirit is saying, those of you carrying the backpack, you know already that your heart, your huge heart and soul are now deeply challenged, but you don't know for sure why. Here's why. Deep watery emotions, the huge amount of dense pressure, warlike sensations coming from Scorpio and her planets Mars and Pluto are now influencing your inner world and subconsciousness. Well, considering Mars as a planet of wars and battles and Pluto as the planet of the dark underworld, your intense feelings and emotions, that inner pressure, which you can really point out where it came from, makes fully sense, even if it is not comfortable, I know. Even though we are within the energies of our air sign, full of logic and intellect, we need to keep in mind that a Libra is also an emotional zodiac. So you perceive those energies as a great burden lately, unfortunately. Spirit is showing me that the majority of you really tried hard to get rid of these heavy burden-like emotions. Because those emotions let you sink into a depressive state, which you don't want and really do not like. One of Libra's attributes is to know thyself exactly the best. So they intuitively know that it is tough to break out of a state of depression. And just like Libra, we intuitively know that as well. And while we are in the given energies of Libra's era, we are now in this period all able to savor those attributes as well for good. Let's imagine a Libra saying, I fight enough with my own inner demons. You and so we all don't want additional demons of others to be dumped onto us. It's that simple. So our, let's say, fighting against dense energy resources are just enough for ourselves individually. To make it clear, this doesn't mean that any of you is an ego-driven person. No, definitely not. On the very contrary, it means you, surrounded by these energies, love to help others and the environment. This helps you to fill your own tank, so to say. But dense energies, especially coming from external sources, no thanks. I'm sure you already have connected the dots, haven't you, my peeps? Well, meaning, Spirit is showing me that you need to go through silent pressure, by yourself, by the way, to collect yourself. And so, of course, you need water as well as warrior-like zodiacs for support. So even though you feel the underworldly energies of Scorpio, which you are not used to, unless you are Scorpio, right? Spirit is reminding you that those energies are, in your case, not here to bother you, but to support you, tasked by Spirit. When we talk about deep sea, we know that as ordinary human beings, we can survive within the very depth of a deep sea. This is why humans need special science, robots, and equipment to at least be able to experience this dark realm up to a specific point. But those who hear the calling are invited to journey through and beyond that deep sea until you find your inner garden of beauty back. Well, looking at the era of Libra, Libra's ruler planet is Venus, and the ruler goddess of Venus is Aphrodite, the goddess of love, beauty, and desire herself. You need beauty. You can't help but need love and beauty so much. Okay, how does that work, you may ask? Here's an illustration, metaphorically speaking, but I sense, except for two of you, it's literally speaking. The reason why I separate here is simple. The picture Spirit shows me is an actual scene and not just a metaphor. As I said, just for two of you. For the rest, it is a metaphor. Attention, please. Alert, alert, or how I used to alert, thanks to the minions, Beto, Beto. By the way, I had a hard time getting out of that flash of laughter when I first saw that little tiny yellow hysteric minion thing putting the emergency alarm on and running in circles. The alarm light is running and it's screaming Beto, Beto. Since then, my alert goes always Beto, Beto. Okay. I come back to the point. We're coming back to the point. Okay, meaning that when you are not a professional diver, aka deep sea diver or mermaid or anything similar, then Beto, Beto, Beto. Please don't feel like you have to dive into the deepest ocean now. No, for good's sake, no. For you, this is just metaphorically speaking a call for astral projection or meditation, which is also diving, by the way, just in another sense and more secure. And this is the most important thing. Spirit never wants to put you into any danger. Spirit always wants you to be safe and sound and is always inviting you to decide for good within all given opportunities. On one hand, you have to consciously put yourself under pressure by putting on a tight diving suit. That wetsuit is a pressure for itself, right? This suit acts for you like an energy vessel, supporting you to hold your own energy together within yourself. Then you put the rest of the equipment on so that you are also able to swim smoothly and breathe underwater, right? The equipment acts like a supportive breath exercise because with an oxygen tank, you need to be thrifty and careful not to have an overly high consumption. You need this external breath opportunity as a guard, so to say, in order for you to have enough time to travel through your journey. So yes, external support, aka external needs, can be helpful to have, but they can simultaneously feel like a burden too, because it needs your aware attention, and this can cost energy. Furthermore, it is mostly a mental pressure. You know, you need your mind to be aware and strong, to not to freak out or hyperventilate while diving, which can be very dangerous depending on how deep you already have dived. At least for the sake of your security, you will be very careful and economical. So when you then slowly dive deeper and deeper, the pressure of the water will be more and more dense. It's no more only the tight suit. Now it's the natural pressure of the seas, which fully surrounds your divine vessel and soul too. Not to forget about the external pressure, meaning the creatures of the sea and deep sea, which can be dangerous for a human being as well. Those creatures are symbolizing other human beings, burdens, expectations, responsibilities, etc., coming from this planet called Earth. We need to survive as well, right? But now underwater, there is silence. There is just you can rely on. Your mind, your soul, your lungs, your heart, your consciousness. You are now just with yourself only. No influences, no external expectations, nothing, but only you. Fully aware, floating through the deep sea of your existence, appreciating your environment, while simultaneously figuring out what serves you and what not. You start to sort out, release and free yourself from any energies which do not belong to you. Yes, it is a divine cleansing. You hand the energies over to the divine elementals and spirits of water in order to transform or transmute into good, in a way your guardian spirits see fit. Even the dense pressure of the deep, deep sea, the more you dive deeper, the more you free yourself from earth-based energies, aka pressures, which were dumped onto you and felt like huge, heavy burdens you carried for far too long. Spirit is saying you need that experience, you need that pressure for good, to find yourself back, to feel yourself back, to rise above, even in the dark seas below as well. It seems contradictory, right? I know. Yes, it is indeed. But to find any contrast with which you can work is way better than to have nothing left from yourself. Feeling pressure, in your case, is feeling yourself, feeling alive, feeling happy and fulfilled again, knowing that you are not lost in thyself, in this realm, aka planet we call Earth. Remember yourself saying no thanks to external depression. This is the same pressure, your very own pressure within the deep seas, that has the great opportunity to let you feel finally alive again. When you're also finally ready to be guided by spirit to just surrender and trust into the divine for good. Don't forget that not only our water sign Scorpio is on your side, but also our sign of fire, Aries. Because those two are sharing the same, let's say, battlefield planet Mars. Don't worry, they will stay away far enough from you so that your energy will not, let's say, melt with theirs. The energies of you all will stay ready to connect, but they will only connect to one another when you are really in need or find yourself in great danger. Well, and because they're used to dark and dense battlefields, they are there to support you, but not for battling, no. Just because those two are well known in those dark realms, they are there to guard you and make you feel safe and sound, so that you can freely move on, just in case some darkness dares to bother you physically or mentally. As Spirit sends you this call, Spirit is of course also preparing the way for you. This can mean that you will be aware that they are there because Spirit wants you to be safe and sound in a realm which you are not familiar with. But that's it. No more, no less. My peeps, we spin in cycles here. It's obvious. You right now love communication, and that's super. But we need to break out of that cycle here, honey. There's a path, aka a deep sea, waiting for you. Okay, contenance. You are cleansing yourself as you dive deeper. You are melding your divine triquetra of your existence, mind, body, soul, into one uniqueness. And as you do that, as you move on, as you trust into spirit and yourself, as you are floating, sooner or later, you will detect a tiny bright light which grows as you dive closer towards it, until you recognize that you dive towards a cave and catch some familiarity in it. You, of course, won't accept to be there. You wonder if you somehow have detected some meadow, a landscape, a garden even, behind the cave portal. And the answer is yes, you did it. You found your own beautiful, peaceful garden, which is welcoming you with beautiful energy as you pass through the cave's portal. Now suddenly you're standing there in stillness, in peace, absorbing divine energies, while a deep sensation of appreciation is expanding within thyself. But you are still just standing there, feeling the warm sand beneath your feet and between your toes. A soft breeze swirling around you, the sun above gifting you with its tenderly warmth. You feel at home, just home. Elementals of your garden are happily and gently surrounding you with love and joy, awakening your great, imaginative, playful, and virulent, wonderfully crazy inner child back again, reminding you of your originality and limitless high potential. Even though there is no time there, the more time you spend there with your fellow elemental companions, the more fulfilled, relaxed, happy, and loved you will feel again. You fill your love tank with your own love, so to say, until you're fully connected to your higher self, until all of a sudden you're fully aware that the beauty in this wonderful, but somehow in the sea, in the deep sea hidden garden, which energies are illuminating and surrounding you, since you passed through the portal, is actually a mirror. It is your beauty within. It was just hidden in deep darkness, like the garden was hidden behind the fluid curtains of the deep seas. Meaning that Spirit is calling you to playfully and freely dare to dive deeper within the very depth within yourself and travel through the face of darkness in order for you to find your beautiful fairy tale-like inner garden back. Spirit is reminding you that you are protected and that this path isn't dangerous. It seems eerie maybe, yes, but it's just necessary for great things for you to happen. Because you hear the call, are needed. We are now experiencing Venus energies because of Libra, and our zodiac sign Libra is not just an ordinary scale to weight, to balance things out or create justice. No, it's connected to Aphrodite, the one and only goddess of love, beauty, and desire. And Venus is, by the way, the ruler planet of Taurus as well. Side note. Okay, and I know that you, chosen ones, know that you always feel this intense pulsating desire for love and beauty, even if it was hidden in the deep seas. Because it's your source, it's in your veins, because It's floating within you. You can't help but just gift everyone, everything, every creature, all nature, and every existence with your deep love, especially in these times. This is why it was and always is necessary for you to dive into the very depth of the deep seas, to the core, to your essence, to connect to your source. You need to have that tank, your tank of love, always to be full. Otherwise, you fall into frustrating states of depression, which we have talked about at the beginning of this translation. This is why you felt miserable. And honestly, hand on your heart, you are now, and probably never were, really the one who can easily handle such dense, miserable states. Of course, even though you are now savoring the energies coming from Venus and are generally full of love, we are now in the era of an air sign. This fact, aka the attributes of Libra and Venus, can surely help you to, let's say, play over it, to cover it for a while, but there swings always a danger for you with it, to lose yourself somehow, and you are fully aware of that sensation. This is why there is this little danger swinging along. Well, I know I don't really have to tell you that, but you, as a chosen one, know when you don't feel loved or loved and aren't fully able anymore to recognize beauties around and surrounding you. You can be ice cold-blooded and yes, even mean as well. Why? As mentioned, when it comes to this point, you are disconnected from your higher self, from your inner beautiful garden. Good point is that you are aware of that and you really try to keep your nuts together, not to hurt anyone unknowingly or knowingly. You just don't want that to happen. Well, my sparkled ones, since I intended to translate for you, I sensed a need, even a longing for a gentle and honest love-based communication, as if you have lovingly and longingly asked the multiverse to loudly read out your inner world for you, in order for you to understand yourself better, aka to catch at least one little tiny confirmation, just for being sure you do the right thing for good. I indeed felt you. I indeed felt you needed that long and kind of circly chatter. Well, what can I say? I would say you're getting there, because congratulations, you're already on your divine journey. Your divine journey. Almost close to the portal. I trust you. You will do that, I know. Spirit is trusting you as well. Remember, there's no time. There's just vibrantly floating existence. So just be. Okay? In this sense, honey, see ya in the divine realms of the deep seas. Love you lots.